Welcome to the Obesity Matters Wellness Workshop, where we embark on an incredible journey towards better health and wellness together. Whether this is your first time or you have been with us since we started this program, we are so grateful you are here. My name is Rachel. I'm the Vice Chair of Obesity Matters, and I am your host for this year-long program. Today's topic is Nourishing Change, a journey of self-love and wellness. Loving ourselves isn't only a good idea, but it's actually at the heart of this journey that we are sharing together. I'd like to take a moment to share with you a poem I wrote for myself as an act of self-love and a reminder that I am worthy of care, compassion, appreciation. I invite you to hear these words as something you too might resonate with, because every single one of us is worthy of that same love. A love letter to myself. This heart of mine beats strong and true. Through every storm, it carries me through. My body, my home, deserves my care. A love that's patient, kind, and rare. No perfect shape, no flawless mold, just strength and beauty, brave and bold. So here I stand, enough, complete, a love for me forever sweet. To help us explore it a little further. So today we are joined by Dr. Brunna Boaventura. Brunna, do you mind sharing a little bit about your background and the work that you do to set up today's conversation?
Sure, Rachel. Thank you. It's a pleasure. It's an honor to be here with you. My name is, as Rachel said, is Brunna Boaventura, and I'm from Brazil. I'm a dietitian-scientist, and I work as a professor of nutrition. And I want to share with you my view of nutrition that goes beyond this strict vision that sometimes is related to nutrition, not only labeling food, but talking about what food and eating behavior are in our lives. So I expect that we can share information and I can help you in this journey of self-care and weight loss.
Thank you, Brunna. We're so excited that you're here with us. Well, how about let's start with probably, one of the most important questions in terms of the connection between obesity and food. Nutrition is often framed as a matter of personal choice. How can we shift this narrative to consider the biology of obesity and its connection to food?
Well, this is a very interesting question, and we need to consider that obesity is beyond personal choice, is beyond food choice, is beyond willpower. Talking about a disease that has many factors that influence, many contributors that affect our food choice. So when we think about obesity, we have these internal aspects, for example, hunger, appetite, fullness, satiety, these signals, they are in imbalance. So sometimes we cannot rely only on these internal cues, internal drivers to have our food choices. When we think that this biology drives our food choices, we also have these environmental aspects that we need to consider. For example, we have this social media, we have this environment that interferes in our eating behavior, and sometimes we cannot control this kind of external cues that are related to our food choices. Additionally, we have these emotional triggers that sometimes when we are sad or when we are anxious, we just eat as a coping strategy to deal with these feelings that we are having. So when we understand that obesity is something that is complex and there are many contributors to this condition, we understand that goes beyond this personal choice. So it's not that simplistic way. So it's a wrong way and simple way to see obesity and the consequences in our eating behavior.
This question is that many of us do feel that guilt about our food choices. How can we help cultivate a kinder and more compassionate relationship with food?
When we understand that obesity is beyond this personal choice, or it's not this willpower, lack of willpower, we see a new perspective of obesity. That's why I invite you to try to have these reflections about your eating behavior, because this is a long journey to have this compassionate or self-compassionate way of living. We have this mindset that sometimes we blame ourselves or we feel so guilty about our eating behaviors. We need to understand that all of these mistakes, that they're not mistakes, they're things that happen. It's a learning process. We need to try to think in a different way about our mistakes. So I always say to my patients, we learn from our mistakes. From our mistakes, we can try to fit the best strategy for ourselves, try to understand why it happened that way.
So food is, for many of us, we feel like it's one of our greatest pleasures. How can we enjoy it without feeling like we need to sacrifice that enjoyment, that happiness, in order to align with some kind of restrictive diet?
Normally, people think that having a diet plan is something that should be very restrictive and no pleasure. So we cannot deny that food is a source of pleasure. This is a fact. And when we understand that, we just accept that food is a source of pleasure. We understand that living with a diet that has no pleasures is like a total sacrifice. So it's impossible to maintain or sustain a diet with nothing of this food that I really, really love. So it's important to consider all these preferences or taste to include some of these foods in the diet plan. So a diet plan is not something that is, I used to say that it's not only 100% healthy. Oh, there's only fruit and vegetables and lean meat and grains and fiber. We're not talking about a perfect diet. We're talking about a dietary plan that is possible, it's realistic, and of course, that brings some joy, that brings some pleasure. So it's important to consider that and include this kind of foods in your daily diet. Independently, the diet needs to have this feeling of nourishing, not only nutrients or vitamins or minerals. We need to bring to our daily diet some source of pleasure. And this is mandatory if you think in a long-term adherence. This is something that is freedom. We need to bring this freedom again. That's why including this foods that bring some pleasure is essential. It's a symbol of freedom with our diet.
We really want to look forward to a very lasting, healthy relationship with food. And, many of us were feeling like we've always been failing and trying again. Many of us here have been on that roller coaster diet plan of trying something, it doesn't work, we try again, and it just sort of feels like continuous failure. So what advice would you give to help someone succeed in building that lasting, sustained, healthy relationship with food? What would you say?
When we're talking about a new habit or creating or changing this habit and trying to sustain it in a long run, we're talking about learning process. So learning process is something that is complex. It is related to neuroplasticity, it's related to cognitive restriction, it's related to brain modification. So it's a long-term process. Eating behavior and food choices are related to this learning process. And each habit, for example, drinking water, or eating more fruits or eating more, veggies, it's something that sometimes it will be a new habit. So it's a new learning process. So there are many aspects that we need to try to reconsider in this learning process.
My last question then is sort of in the vein of what we're talking about here in terms of sticking with healthy habits. Are there other strategies that can help someone improve, their adherence, like we talked about, that can help us improve our adherence to healthy eating habits, and in particular in those times when we're really trying to manage temptations?
There's this, we call it list of advantages. It's a cognitive behavioral tool that we use to keep in our mind the goal that we have in the future. So this list of advantages, we can also use list of benefits. You can write it down, 3 to 10 reasons or bullet points that can help you to understand or be connected to the goal that we have in the future. This updating of the advantages or the benefits will help you to keep on track to get your goal in the future. This is a strategy that we can use.
It reminds me of something I've done in the past, and I found it work really well, is I actually write those advantages or the benefits. If I were, let's take the scale out of the question, because we like to do that here. That's more of our approach. So if we want to have those, interacting with children, feeling comfortable in your clothes, like we want to have those kinds of benefits. So we write it down, but I've written it on a cue card. And when I'm going into a situation where I feel like I'm going to have temptations, I might be going to, an after work party or something like that. And, where there's alcohol, and there's also lots of food choices that I wouldn't necessarily think are healthy for me. So I will read that cue card before I go. Maybe I'll put it in my purse. So when I go to the bathroom, it's just a simple, retelling myself why I want to stay healthy and why I want to make certain food choices. So in the vein of that, I thought I would just share that example. And I found that has worked really well for me. Thank you so much for participating, everyone. We really appreciate hearing your perspectives and seeing a shift as well. Thank you for joining us today. Remember, our journey towards better health and wellness is not a solitary one. We are here to support and uplift one another. See you next time.